Hey y'all, Grand Rising. Thank you so much for returning to my channel. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you for all your likes. Thank you for subscribing. It's a beautiful morning, as you can see. I had to get on over here to the school to drop off a package for my beautiful daughter. But let's stroll a little bit. We're gonna stroll a little bit. All right. I just recently released a premiere, and this premiere, it was about the night that I got arrested. You know, I've only been arrested twice in my life. I was arrested back in 2013 for something that really didn't have to happen, but at the same time, when just face it, when you're a black man, you know, it's like you have no rights. All right, and it seemed like the only people in this world that have rights are white people, black women, and children. Like that's the only. It's just that's what it seemed like. It seemed like people can get locked up quicker for animal cruelty than assaulting a black man. You know, that's what it seemed like in my world, and I'm here in North Carolina. But moving on, y'all. The night my truck got towed, it wasn't impeding traffic, and quite frankly, I could have had someone move my truck. I could have had someone come get it. But the officer chose to be an a-hole, and he got upset when I told him I don't consent to no seizures nor searches. And they did that. They searched my truck, took my firearm, and then he had my truck towed. And once I got locked up and to what I believe to be falsely imprisoned, by the time I got out, I owed over $2,000. You know, money I didn't have, because at that point in time, I was doing my trucking school, and I wasn't necessarily working a job. I was doing side jobs, carpentry work, landscaping, you know, just to get by. How you say, just basically like eating hand to mouth, however you want to say it. But by the time I got out, the fees was over $2,500, and I couldn't afford that at all. On top of that, when the day that I went to go and check on my truck, which was about 2 days after I was released from serving those 18 days, when I went to go check on my truck and see what like the damage was, things of that nature, at that point I didn't know that my firearm was collected. I didn't know that the police department collected my firearm. I didn't know they searched my truck, and I didn't know that they collected my firearm out my truck and all my ammunition. Because yes, I tow firearms because of my safety. It's because of how people treated me all my life and all the misunderstandings, the misinterpretations of me, and all the hater type stuff. And just the he say, she say type stuff, and people never even come to me and ask me questions. So I went back into the building, which out of respect for the people in the building, I just chose not to record. You know, me thinking that, hey, this is just going to be quick and simple, you know, but it wasn't quick and simple. Once I went in the building, I was met, you know, at first with some hospitality, right? By two women, two white women, and they had this big, large freaking dog. I mean, I'm sorry, like the dog was, the dog was really big. Like he was bigger than my freaking porch. Like, big country dog. Dog that if I was to show up there pretty much by myself, he would probably bite half of me off. So, you know, we kind of talked it up, and I talked about God a little bit to him, and I leveled with him, showed him proof that the vehicle's mine, and they told me how much it was going to be. Then they said something about a highway patrolman fee, and I guess that was like an extra $1,300 freaking dollars. Just stacking up fees on me, racking up fees on me, racking up fees on me. And my truck, let me tell y'all something about my truck. My truck is vintage, okay? It's a family mobile from hell, okay? Man, I had it tuned up. I kept the engine maintenance. I mean, this thing was just flawless. But it was my work truck too. You know, it was my work truck, and I built it to my liking over time. And I did all the work myself. Blood, sweat, tears, bad weather, thundering, all of that. I put in work to keep this truck up and to keep this as a family mobile because I wanted to pass it down to my kids once they got to a certain age. But it was a vintage truck. It definitely was. And so initially, they let me get to the truck. They let me check it out or whatever. And when I got in the truck, the first thing I did was look for my firearm. That's the first thing I did. And I found a bullet, but I didn't find my firearm. Let alone when I went in my truck, everything was just ramshacked. Everything was ramshacked. My panels was like off, you know, from where they were supposed to be. I mean, I had two 18-inch subwoofers in there, all stuff that I built up over time. I mean, I had about 4 batteries for my radio system in there. The interior was custom. I painted it black with gold speckles in the inside. And I couldn't find my firearm, so I went back in there and I let them know. Well, first, I went on ahead and called the local police department because I was gonna file for a lost or stolen firearm. Then I was gonna go in there and just kind of brief them on why the local police department showed up, so they just wouldn't, like, you know, get afraid or something like that. I just wanted to inform them and let them know the situation. But lo and behold, when I walked in there to considerably and very respectfully explain to the lady about the firearm, I said, "Hi, ma'am. I just want to make you guys aware. I called the local police department because I did have a firearm in my vehicle and I can't find that firearm. So I called them so I can go ahead and file for a lost or stolen firearm." I even further went and start telling them, hey, listen, I'm not saying that you guys took the firearm. I'm not saying nothing like that. I am not accusing you guys of doing any of those things. But this is just a process on when there's a firearm that is out and there's no record of it. So the lady, she gets all offended, literally offended, like redneck offended, like she couldn't like she only had this much amount of respect anyway. Says, yeah, well, we don't know about no firearm, and we are Second Amendment holders, and we tote firearms too. I got a lot of firearms myself, and my husband got a lot of firearms too. I'm like, well, ma'am, I'm just saying, this is just the process. Where is all this coming from? So after repeatedly letting her know, listen, I'm not accusing you guys. This is just a process. I said, you know what? Screw it. Let me just go back to the car, and we're just gonna sit and wait on the police department to get here, because this is just turning out and going in a direction that I just didn't think that it would go, you know. And that's the thing with people these days. Like, you can be straightforward with them respectfully, and then they just go left. You know, like, you didn't hear what I just said. You don't recognize respect when it's given to you. So I went and sat in the car, and we waited. And lo and behold, Miss Pretty Thing show up. Miss Pretty Thing show up. I'm gonna name her Miss Pretty Thing. Miss Pretty Thing shows up. No, wait, before she shows up, the lady that was being rude, her husband shows up in his big flatbed truck, and he almost sideswipes the vehicle that I'm sitting in. He was really close, like to the point where if I roll my window down, my eyelashes can touch the side of his truck. So we back out, not necessarily off the property, but just out of the gate, you know, just to give whoever else will have to come in, just give them some space. This lady about breaks her neck running out of this building, running down the stairs, talking about, no, don't go nowhere. Nah, you stay right here, don't go nowhere. I'm looking like, now what in the world? What? How did it get to this? And we wasn't going anywhere. We were just moving the car out the way, you know, just being courteous and being considerate. Then Miss Pretty Thing shows up. Miss Pretty Thing shows up, and she asked, what's going on here? And I told her, I was like, listen, I just want to file for a loss of stolen firearm. I let her know the situation that transpired, and how we got to the point of my truck being with them, and just explain to her the whole situation, including with this tow lady or whatever the case is. And this is gonna be hell's towing, okay? This is hell's towing. So I told her the lady's in there being very rude, and we just kind of just got out the way, because the big truck that came in, if they didn't try to hit the car we was in, they was almost close to hitting the vehicle we was in. And I told her, I was like, I feel like they're trying to retaliate. And I told Miss Pretty Thing, I said, listen, I'm not accusing them of stealing my firearm. I'm not doing none of those things. I'm just simply trying to go through the process the correct way and locate my firearm, so it doesn't be a murder weapon or anything like that in the hands of someone else. And I also went on and said that if they do have it, I do want to file charges. And that of course, that's going to go without saying, but you know, I'm going to hold them accountable for it, you know, because I was already kind of feeling some kind of way low-key about them towing my truck. And after I told them that I don't consent to no searches nor seizures, you know, and then the bill, me having to pay for that tow, all of those things, you know, and then not having the money for it, you know. And you know, this truck again is my workhorse. This is how I make my money when I don't have a job. This is just how I was putting food on the table, you know? So for them to just do that, like, you know, it really, I was bothered. I was definitely bothered, you know, because at that point, everything was still spinning for me, and I just had to get a grip on everything and just start somewhere with this whole entire ordeal that happened September 28th, 2024. The officer was very professional. She approached the situation in a manner that if I was a police officer, I would. And that's me accommodating the police department that I work for. That's me accommodating the oath that I pledged, and having respect for the safety of the community. So she got down to the bottom of it for me, and she relayed to me that my firearm was located, and it was in something called safekeepings, which I never heard of safekeepings, but technically they're not seizing your firearm. They just, you can get it back if you ask for it. But in my mind, it shouldn't just never went in my truck in the first place. And they did, I know they didn't find anything because, again, you know, I don't do drugs or anything like that. None of that. You know, there's no paraphernalia. You're not gonna find no beer cans or liquor bottles or anything like that. Nothing that's gonna, you know, be a cause of concern. I had jumping cables. I had my tools. All my tools is in there. I had my my jack stand to jack my truck up. I mean, I had I had pretty much everything that, you know, accommodated me in mobile mechanics and some landscaping stuff too, you know, that was very detrimental to my garage. So so then, you know, I spent weeks calling the local police department trying to get my firearm back. And I'm jumping through hurdles. I'm talking leaving voicemails. I can't get up with the person. It's like the person was on like a 3 or 4 week vacation, or the person is at the warehouse where everything is stored, but there's no way to get in contact with that person by them being at that warehouse where everything is stored. Just help that make sense. Somebody make sense of that, because if I'm working somewhere and I have to go to another location while I'm on the clock, how can I not be contacted? How can that place not have no telephone? You know, no way of showing that I'm there, right? And then it got to the point where the women that were answering the phone, which was white women, when they answer the phone, I'm just gonna not narrow it down to them. I'm just gonna say anybody who answered the local police department's phone, they had this pirate type attitude where if you wasn't a part of their crew, you wasn't gonna get no respect. Like, think of it as Jesus and his disciples, everybody who followed him willingly, and everybody that loved him, everybody that he considered his mothers, sisters, and brothers. It was the same thing, you know, except they just didn't have no respect and no love for no citizens. That's kind of what it is. I mean, but anywho, y'all, so I said, you know what, I've had it, and I made some phone calls. And one of those phone calls was to the chief of police down here. And well, I went and talked to him. And in the midst of me talking to him, we both found out that the police department there are not following processes and procedures, including when you file a complaint on an officer. And then the police chief was acting like he was just so in the blind about things and exclaimed that, hey, he was going to do something about this, right? And he's going to turn this around, or at least try to, for that matter. But me knowing that officers, they are deployed to lie to you. They can legally lie to you. And I'm not saying he was lying to me, but I'm on the fence about it. Okay, he seemed like a gentleman. He wasn't white. He was a black man, and he was very respectful. He agreed with a lot of things that we talked about. We both was in agreement, and it was just a really good experience. All right, and he had my respect. And like, if he needed somebody to vote for him, I would definitely vote for him. After that, maybe a day later, they called me and asked me to come pick my firearm up. So you mean to tell me I had to sit here and jump through all those hoops and hurdles, score a sit down with the chief of police just to get my firearm back? Is that the process? Is that how it normally goes? And just note this: when I was in my world, where I strongly believe falsely in prison, they couldn't get my paperwork right for 7 days. That 7 days, I could not buy anything that I needed as far as like food go, or underwears, you know, hygiene products, 7 days. But I got through that. And God and Jesus Christ allowed me, and they strengthened me, and they got me through that, which again, I'm saving that experience for another video. So now I still got my title for my truck in my wallet. But it's like, what do I do now? This is a really big mess. Really, really big mess. But still I rise. And you guys, it's like, if anything, I earned my respect. Okay? And I also earned my freedom as well, because I have everything that it takes to crash out. But see, God, he's a good God. And Jesus, he's a good son of a God. And he was a great example. He strengthens me, and I shall rejoice in his name. So I had to put God first, because I love my children. I love my life. I love, the fruits of my harvest. I worked hard for everything, and my kids' futures matters the most to me. All right, you should know that by now on my channel. Even if I don't post them and things like that, I choose to kind of keep them like off of my page to a certain extent, because they have their own little private lives, and I'm just giving them privacy. You know what I mean? It's not like they put me on their social medias, but soon they will. But my point is, y'all, I'm literally taking it one day at a time. I'm doing the best I can at loving everybody and keeping a level head with all of this, because it's a lot, y'all. And now I got to raise some money up. Not only am I dealing with that situation, I'm dealing with discrimination from the jobs. Like, that's a whole nother freaking topic, y'all. That's a whole nother topic. I'm dealing with discrimination from the jobs and, you know, financial problems, you know. I have a 5-year-old that needs to be in daycare, and we're on the waiting list, but, you know, we're just waiting for that to drop. But even then, I'm not able to work a steady job because I don't have a babysitter, you know, and I don't have transportation, you know. But I am the type, I will hop on a bike, and you guys see it, I will walk, and I will walk great distances to take care of business. But with the type of money that I need to make on an hourly basis, I have to venture out to these jobs that is paying $18, $19, $20 an hour and up. So when you guys see me post my Cash App, you see me post my Chime, that's real. That's not no try to rip you off type of deal. Like, you guys, I'm posting the evidence, I'm posting everything, so you guys can take it from the evidence. You know, take it from what I post. I don't have no reason to lie, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm just not gonna lie to you guys. There's a lot of people that get up here and they lie through their skin of their teeth and mouth. They just lie. But I'm not gonna do none of that. I'm not gonna do none of that. I need to raise about $2,000. Excuse me, $2,000, and that ought to do us pretty good as far as like my rent and utilities, you know. So that's my goal, is to raise $2,000, and I will still post my Cash App. I will still post my Chime information. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at therealdjmonster@gmail.com. That email is super operable because my phone is off, okay? So that's the way that people can get to me, like can contact me and reach out to me, okay? Other than that, if you have any questions, you can comment below or you can email me, all right? Check out the most recent videos that I recently released, which is right here. You'll see them both right here. And make sure you comment and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up, okay? This is the real DJ Monster. I appreciate your time. I love you guys, and you guys are awesome, okay? We all have to grow together, okay? And one of the good ways about growing together is communicating with each other to find a starting point, okay? You got to start somewhere. And so that's what we're doing. On this channel, we're starting somewhere, because this channel is where you're going to find your real blessings at. I got to get myself situated first, okay? I got to get myself situated first so I can bless people in the way that they need it. And whoa, and they're not, and I'm not gonna know their situation, but I'm gonna know what they need. I promise you that. But yes, thank you so much, guys. Peace.